Hey friends, I just heard about Loretta Lynn passing away, and I wanted to say a few words and pay my respects. I think a lot of you guys can relate to this. But my earliest memories of Loretta Lynn was just being a kid, and we had a bunch of records around the house. And I remember listening to things like Fist City and just thinking it was fun and really digging it. You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man. Always dug it. And the things that I think I liked more than anything were her duets with Conway Twitty. Like As Soon as I Hang Up the Phone was the song. There's Nothing Cold as Ashes After the Fire's Gone. That's a damn good country song there. Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man. Stuff like that was part of the soundtrack of my childhood, and she was always around, and she seemed like a huge figure. You know, there were lots of people when you're listening to country music that you listen to and you like the songs, but there were very few that you would turn on the TV and see sitting there talking to Johnny Carson on a Tonight Show. And she was always really, really good in those situations because she was fun, interesting, witty, and you could tell Johnny loved having her on. And I have to believe that helped tear down a lot of preconceived notions of what country music artists were to people just watching across the country that might not like country music. And also songs like The Pill. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about that, but that's pretty brave. I mean, that's real brave, and not a lot of people could have gotten away with that, but she got away with it and more. And I just think that's great. I remember when we first moved to Nashville, the Van Leer Rose album with Jack White was a few years already past, and I remember friends of mine were like, yeah, man, they'd point out this house, I think it's on Boscobel. I can't remember exactly the name of the street, but I know right where it's at. Like, that's where the Van Leer Rose album was recorded, there in that house. And really, so I'd drive by there and then quickly realize that the picture on the cover of her under that tree was like right out in front of there. And that was pretty damn cool. It was a nice link to my life right now, to my childhood. And then the one time that really stands out is I remember I had never gone to see the Grand Ole Opry, and my buddy Mark Fain heard that, and he's like, hey man, I'll get you guys tickets and you can go ahead and go for free. He hooked it up, and we ended up, Amy and I went, and we entered through the backstage area, and we're standing on the side of the stage. And that night, it was Ricky Skaggs, who Mark was playing with, and it was Ralph Stanley, and little Jimmy Dickens was hosting the thing, and Loretta Lynn. And I remember just kind of standing there on the side of the stage, and Ralph Stanley would walk up, and I had opened for him a few times, but he didn't know me. There's no reason for him to know me. And I say, hey, sir, and got my picture taken with little Jimmy Dickens. But Loretta Lynn, she came walking out. Now, Ralph Stanley is a huge figure in my eyes, and a very special. The fact maybe I'd seen him before, being around Loretta Lynn was just a whole different thing. It's hard to explain. I don't get starstruck or anything like that, and famous people are just famous people. But she was on a short list of people. I was surprised that, like, just being 4 feet away from her and not saying anything, it was like, damn, man, that's Loretta Lynn. That's that voice that, was singing to me as a kid. I was listening to the records and all of that, and it was just, she was larger than life, and it was just because of the aura around her. Strange, like, you could draw a straight line to, like, the real country music world back when, you could, like, Patsy Cline, Ernest Tubb, she's like the last connection to a lot of that, what I think of, the heyday of country music. And but I remember watching her, and she had some kind of a hip problem or a leg problem. I don't remember what it was, but she was not getting around well at all. And while the audience couldn't see her, she was being helped walking towards the stage by someone in her band or her entourage, and she was not getting around good at all. And it was like, oh my God, she's going to be all right. And right as soon as she got within sight of the audience, everything kind of like toughened up and got strong. And she was escorted out, and she walked out to the microphone, and, you know, she sucked it up, put a smile on, and sang the hits. And the people absolutely loved it. And I got to watch from the side of the stage. She was great. The audience had no idea that she was feeling terrible, you know, was in pain and all that. This is probably 10 or 12 years ago. So she was, you know, already up there in age. And when she walked off, they kind of escorted her off. And then as soon as she got out of sight of the audience, you could kind of see her body language come down. And it was obvious that, you know, it was not easy to go do that, but she did it. And it says a lot. But I wanted to share that story with you guys. And I think she was 90 years old. But tell me your stories about, you know, what songs did you dig? What's your earliest memories of listening to Loretta Lynn? I'd like to hear them. And I'll link an interview with Mark Fain, the guy that got me those tickets to the Opry, so you can listen to him. And I'll see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.